Today, we're going to explore one of the most powerful forces for success, discipline, and transformation: delayed gratification, and more importantly, how your brain is wired to support it. The ability to delay gratification is not something you're either born with or without. It's a skill that can be trained, and the foundation of this lies in how your brain is wired. Neuroscience shows that the prefrontal cortex, the region of the brain responsible for decision making, impulse control, and future planning, plays a central role in resisting short-term temptations for long-term gains. But here's the breakthrough insight. This region of the brain is plastic, meaning it can be strengthened through repeated use. Every time you choose discipline over indulgence, focus over distraction, or long-term value over immediate pleasure, you activate and reinforce the neural circuits within the prefrontal cortex. Over time, these circuits become more efficient, making it easier to make disciplined choices in the future. What this means is that each small act of self-control isn't just a behavioral win, it's a biological upgrade. Just like training a muscle, the more you exercise this system, the stronger it becomes. And it works in the opposite direction as well. If you consistently give in to impulses, you're wiring your brain to be more reactive, more impulsive, and less capable of handling delay. This is known in neuroscience as Hebbian learning. Neurons that fire together wire together. When you continually respond to a craving or urge by indulging it, you're reinforcing a fast reward circuit. But when you interrupt that impulse and consciously choose a delayed outcome, you build a new, healthier circuit. This training doesn't require dramatic acts of willpower. It starts with small, manageable decisions. Choosing to go for a walk instead of scrolling social media, taking a cold shower instead of the easy comfort, saying no to junk food just once in a day. Each of these moments adds to your brain's capacity to wait, to evaluate, and to choose wisely. Over time, this adds up to something remarkable: a disciplined mind that doesn't just resist temptation, but starts to prefer long-term benefits. The science is empowering. Your brain is not a fixed battlefield of cravings. It is adaptable. The more you practice delayed gratification, the more it becomes your natural default. That's the real science of self-control, not magic, not motivation, but trained biology. Dopamine is often misunderstood as the chemical responsible for pleasure, but neuroscience tells us that its primary role is motivation specifically. Motivation to pursue a goal. It's the neurochemical that fuels your desire to act, to strive, and to push forward. What's critical to understand is that dopamine spikes not when you receive the reward, but when you anticipate it. That anticipation is where the power lies. Most people unconsciously attach dopamine only to outcomes: the trophy, the promotion, the beach body, which creates a cycle of chasing peaks followed by crashes. This is why people often lose motivation once the novelty of a goal wears off. The real shift happens when you train your brain to associate dopamine with the process itself, not just the end result. If you learn to attach a sense of reward and excitement to the act of studying, working out, or building your dream rather than the future result, you unlock a sustainable source of energy and discipline. This isn't a mindset trick, it's a biological reality. Studies in neuroscience show that individuals who link dopamine to effort and progress, not outcome, are significantly more consistent and resilient over time. Their reward system becomes calibrated to daily work, making them less dependent on external validation or short-term success. You can start doing this by becoming mindful of your internal dialogue. When you push through a workout, tell yourself, "This is the win." When you sit down to focus, remind yourself, "This is the reward." Celebrate the act of effort, not just the outcome. You can also layer in micro rewards like short breaks, small rituals, or simple affirmations to anchor dopamine to the work phase. Over time, this builds what's called a asterisk growth, reward loop asterisk, where your motivation feeds on progress itself. This shift is profound because it changes the way you approach discipline. You no longer feel like you're constantly denying yourself pleasure. Instead, you're redefining pleasure as something found in the pursuit, the sweat, the grind. When your dopamine system is aligned with process, not prizes, you become virtually unstoppable. You're no longer chasing reward, you're living in it. And that is the biological foundation of true discipline and lasting change. One of the biggest obstacles to delayed gratification is the brain's tendency to devalue. Future rewards a phenomenon known in neuroscience as temporal discounting. Simply put, the farther away a reward is, the less valuable it feels in the present moment. This is why it's so hard to resist immediate temptations like junk food, social media, or procrastination. Your brain is wired to favor the now. But research shows that this bias can be overcome through a powerful technique: visualizing your future self. When you vividly imagine who you will become, what you'll look like, feel like, and experience, you create a stronger emotional and neurological connection between your present decisions and your future rewards. This mental connection recruits specific brain regions like the ventromedial prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus, which are involved in self-referential thinking and memory. When these areas are activated during visualization, your brain begins to interpret your future self not as a stranger, but as a real extension of who you are right now. The result: you become more likely to make choices that benefit your long-term well-being because the future no longer feels distant or abstract. It becomes emotionally relevant and neurologically alive. To make this practical, set aside time each day, even just 5 minutes, to clearly imagine your future self. Picture waking up early with energy, handling challenges with clarity, feeling strong, focused, and fulfilled. Try to engage all senses in the visualization. What do you see, hear, feel, and even smell? The more detailed and vivid the image, the stronger the brain's emotional response. And with repetition, you train your neural circuits to prefer choices that align with that vision. This technique is used by elite athletes, military operators, and high performers in nearly every field. They don't just have a goal, they have a mental image of who they must become, and they rehearse that image daily. This primes their nervous system to take actions aligned with that identity. When you do the same, the power of immediate urges starts to fade. Your decisions begin to reflect a deeper commitment to who you're becoming, not just what you want right now. The science is clear. By visualizing your future self, you bring long-term gratification into the present moment, allowing you to act with purpose instead of impulse. Small, daily acts of discipline may seem insignificant in the moment, but they have a powerful cumulative effect on the brain's structure and function. Neuroscience has shown that repeated behaviors shape the brain through a process called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself based on experience. Each time you choose to delay gratification, even in the smallest way, you are strengthening the neural circuits in the prefrontal cortex that are responsible for self-control, decision-making, and goal-directed behavior. Over time, this builds a more disciplined, focused, and resilient mind. It's not about making one massive transformation overnight. It's about making micro decisions that align with your goals and repeating them consistently. For example, choosing to read for 10 minutes instead of scrolling through your phone, drinking water instead of soda, or going to bed on time rather than binge watching shows may feel minor, but these actions signal to your brain that long-term value is more important than immediate pleasure. With each repetition, the prefrontal cortex becomes more efficient at overriding impulses from deeper brain structures like the amygdala and nucleus accumbens, which push you toward instant rewards. In essence, you are shifting the balance of power in your own brain from reaction to reflection, from compulsion to conscious choice. What's even more empowering is that this process becomes easier the more you engage in it. Just like lifting weights builds muscle, practicing discipline builds the brain's capacity for self-regulation. You begin to crave the feeling of self-mastery more than the fleeting hit of dopamine from impulsive choices. This doesn't mean you won't experience temptation, you will, but your response to it changes. Instead of feeling overwhelmed or reactive, you begin to pause, evaluate, and act with intention. That pause, that moment of awareness, is the space where real growth happens. This isn't a matter of willpower alone. It's biology. The brain you have today isn't fixed, it's being shaped by your daily habits. When you choose small acts of discipline, you're not just delaying gratification, you're reprogramming your brain to operate at a higher level. Over time, those small wins stack up and become your new normal. And eventually, the disciplined, focused, and successful version of you is not just an idea, it becomes who you are.